والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وبعد. So we're on Bab Silat al-Rahim, which is the 26th chapter. Nobody has a book today. Safe didn't come.
Man, I'm the servant.
Safe has the book, but he didn't show up. We didn't bring Safe's book, and Hamza didn't. No Safe, no Hamza.
I mean, so long. I'll try to be Hamza, man, but.
Alright, so the chapter is on Bab Silat al-Rahim. So it's connecting again, this is just continuing the connection of the ties of kinship. And this is still going to go on and on. Like we got about probably another 40 more hadiths dealing with all this, and then we'll go on to other things, inshallah. But he really placed the importance of that by putting so many hadith and dealing with this in depth at the beginning of his book. So he said, حدثنا قال الإمام البخاري رحمه الله حدثنا أبو نعيم فضل بن الدكين قال حدثنا عمرو بن عثمان بن عبد الله بن موهب قال سمعت موسى بن طلحة يذكر عن أبي أيوب الأنصاري رضي الله عنه أن أعرابيا عرض للنبي صلى الله عليه وسلم في مسيره فقال أخبرني ما يقربني من الجنة ويباعدني من النار قال تعبد الله ولا تشرك به شيئا وتقيم الصلاة وتؤتي الزكاة وتصل الرحم. So here, all of these, the chain of narration is authentic, so there's no issue with that. All of the narrators of Bukhari and Muslim. So he said that Abu Ayyub al-Ansari, he reported that a Bedouin, he approached the Prophet ﷺ during one of his travels, and he said to him, "Akhbirani, inform me of something that will bring me closer to Jannah, and it will keep me away and make me further away from the fire." And this is the question of the Arabi, is similar to the question of Mu'adh ibn Jabal, because he also asked the same question, "Dullani ala amalani yuqarribuni ila jannah wa yub'idani an an-nar." And he gave him in the beginning the same advice. He said, "Qala ta'budu Allah wa la tushriku bi shay'in." So worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and don't associate anything with it and worship with Him. Any partners in worship with Him. And what do we say ibadah means?
Obedience.
No, you got to be stronger than that.
Ibadah means any act that's of love for Allah or something like that.
Like the way that we talked about it before was the Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah, where he said, العبادة هو اسم جامع لكل ما يحبه الله ويرضاه من الأعمال الظاهرة والباطنة ومن الأعمال والأقوال الظاهرة والباطنة. All right, so he said it is encompassing, it's a noun. It's like a name of something that, it's like an umbrella term. There's so many different things go under it. And what falls under it is every single action and every statement that is beloved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whether it be an action of the limbs or a statement of the tongue. And it's, dhahira wal batina. So it's what you do on the outside, and also the i'tiqad and the beliefs that you have inside, from your intentions and your beliefs and everything of why you do. So all of this is ibadah. All of it is worship. So that's what he commanded him to do. And he said, worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and don't associate anything in partners with him. And the shirk is saraf al-ibadah alladhi huwa haqqu lillah ila ghayrillah. So it's like to take something that's only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has a right for, and then sarafu ila ghayri. And then you take it and you give it to other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wa taqimu as-salat. And what did we say that iqamat as-salat is?
We said iqamat as-salat is to establish the prayer at its time.
That's part of it.
In your home.
In your homes.
And amongst your family. Well, everywhere. Wherever you go, but amongst your family.
No, because the iqamat salat is in the masjid. I mean, if it's a man, he prays in the masjid, right? If he's able to, obviously certain circumstances come up when you're not able to make it to the masjid, but all right. So you have conditions, you have pillars, and you have wajibat, and you have sunnah. So you have shurut, arkan, wajibat, wa sunnah. And all of that goes into the iqam salat. So all of the conditions, the shurut, they have to be fulfilled before you go into the salat. And then of course the arkan of the salat are the pillars of the salat, the things that if you miss them, your salat is invalid. It's invalid. No matter if you missed it on accident or you missed it on purpose, it doesn't matter. The salat becomes invalid if you leave out the pillars of the salat, like reciting Surah Al-Fatiha. Not necessarily that the whole salat is invalid, but like for example, if you stand up and you don't recite Surah Al-Fatiha in a rak'ah, then that rak'ah is what? Is invalid. Not the whole entire salat, but you would have to repeat the rak'ah that, there's no, like, okay, I forgot to recite Surah Al-Fatiha, so I'm just going to do a sujood sahw. The sujood for forgetfulness because I forgot to read Surah Al-Fatiha. Now, Fatiha is a pillar of the salat. So for your salat to be correct, you have to repeat. If you know for sure that you went a rak'ah without reciting Surah Al-Fatiha, then you have to go back and repeat that rak'ah. Or, for example, but now if you didn't do the takbirah to the ihram, then salat is invalid. You didn't say Allahu Akbar, you just came right in and just started praying with the imam. And now the salat is invalid because you never actually entered the salat properly. So these are all the arkan, all right, the arkan of the salat. The taslim, the tashahhud al-akhir, all right, of course the ruku', the sajdatain, all of these are arkan. And then you have the wajibat. All right, and the wajibat of salat, which is different than the arkan, because the wajibat.
So what is the wajibat? What is the wajibat?
Like saying Subhana Rabbiyal Azim in the ruku', Subhana Rabbiyal A'la in the sujood, saying Rabbi Khirli between the two sajdas. So these things, or the tashahhud al-awwal, the first tashahhud, because the second tashahhud is what? Is a rukn. The first one is wajib. The second one is a rukn. So what does that mean? That means if you forget, like let's say that you're in the second rak'ah and you just stand up, you don't do the tashahhud. The first one, you stand up but you forgot. So what do you do?
With the tashahhud, you don't sit back down.
You just continue the salat, and then once your salat is at the end of the salat, before you do the taslim, you do sujood sahw.
And what's the tashahhud?
The tashahhud.
I knew I was saying it wrong.
What do you do after the second rak'ah?
After the second rak'ah?
Yo, MC Hammer, chill out.
You say the Fatiha.
You say Surah Al-Fatiha when you're sitting down.
Oh no. Second rak'ah?
After it. When you're sitting down, what do you do?
Oh, you talking about like when you get into tashahhud?
Tashahhud, yeah.
Oh. So.
You had to think about it.
No, wait, so explain. What's the word? Tashahhud?
Tashahhud.
Oh, so that's basically like another word to explain
It's the same word, you're just saying it different.
You're saying it wrong. I mean, you could be nice and say you're saying it different, but it's not that you're saying it wrong. It's just a lot of people that are taught.
So yeah, that's basically like the same thing, though, right? Like that's what the tashahhud. Tashahhud.
Yeah, because the
tashahhud. That's where the tashahhud come in. Okay. And that's just basically the atayatu. Oh, that's basically what it is. The tashahhud. That's tashahhud. Tashahhud.
Oh, it's not tashahhud? It's not tashahhud?
Tashahhud, because it's the masdar of tashahhada, tashahhadu, tashahudan, from shahida, from a shahada. Alright, so if you miss that, then you just do the sujood sahw, khalas, done. Alright, then you have the wajib, that's the wajibat. If you have now the sunnah, and these are, reciting anything other than Surah Al-Fatiha, raising the hands when you're going down into the ruku', raising the hands when you come out of the ruku', raising the hands when you come out of tashahhud al-awwal. When you go back to standing, this is all sunnah. If you do it, alhamdulillah, you follow the sunnah, and you follow the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam when he said, "Sallu kama ra'aytumuni usalli." Pray in the manner that you see me pray. And if you didn't do it, it's not going to make any of your salah invalid, but it definitely is, not, you're going against the commands of the Messenger. Because the commands of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said what? Pray in the manner that you see me pray. He didn't say pray in the manner that you see Imam Malik pray. And he didn't say pray in the manner that you see Abu Hanifa pray. But he said pray in the manner that you see me pray. So we follow the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So a lot of these people, like you see, like the Malikis from Maghrib, from Mauritania, how do they pray? They pray with their hands to the side. Why? Because Malik. Did the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam pray like that? No. And I challenge them to give one narration where the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam prayed with his hands to his side. All right, Imam Malik prayed like that for a purpose. He was injured. All right, so we don't. He was beaten. He was taken and beat. So at that point, we don't copy people like that. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam commanded us to pray in the manner that he prayed. So the Hanafis, they don't raise their hands when they don't raise their hands when they do the takbir going into the ruku'. They don't raise their hands saying Sami Allahu liman hamida. They don't raise their hands coming out of the sujood because they want to follow Abu Hanifa. But we have countless narrations in Bukhari and Muslim where the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam raised his hands. So again, we go and we follow the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We don't follow somebody else after the Prophet who doesn't do what he did. So that's the manner that we pray. So we follow the sunnah. Now, if you don't follow the sunnah, again, so a Hanafi that prays like this, his salah is still valid. And a Maliki that prays like this, his salah is still valid. But he's mukhalif, the sunnah. And he's going against the commands of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in which he said, "Sallu kama ra'aytumuni usalli." So that's a command. That's a fi'l amr. So that's a command, to pray. He didn't say pray the way that you see me pray, if you want to. And he said pray the way, in the manner that you see me pray. That's a command. So that we have to do to the best of our capabilities, because like the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Ma nahaytukum anhu fajtanibuh. وما أمرتكم به فأتوا منه ما استطعتم فإنما أهلك الذين من قبلكم كثرة مسائلهم واختلافهم على أنبيائهم." So he said, whatever I prevent you from, whatever I forbid you from, you stay away from it. And whatever I command you to do, you do it to the best of your capabilities. So we see like صَلُّوا كَمَا رَأَيْتُمُونِي أُصَلِّي, pray in the manner that you see me pray, so you do that to the best of your capabilities. Alright, and then he said, فَإِنَّمَا أَهْلَكَ الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِكُمْ, verily the people that were destroyed because of their constantly questioning and bringing these different issues to the prophets, and for them going against his commands, وَاخْتِلَافُهُمْ عَلَى أَنْبِيَائِهِمْ, and disagreeing and opposing the messenger. So there's no doubt if that's something that caused the people destruction. So if you want to avoid that destruction, then you prayed in the way that the Prophet ﷺ prayed. That's what you do. So if you go to a madhab, you don't go to the madhab to say, okay, I'm going to go follow the Hanbali madhab so I can pray the way Imam Ahmed prayed. No, if I go to the madhab, I'll go to the madhab to see what did Imam Ahmed say, how did he describe the way that the Prophet ﷺ prayed. Let me see the adillah, let me see the hadith, let me see how the Prophet ﷺ prayed. Alright, so that's iqam as-salat. Wa tuqim as-salat wa tu'ti az-zakat, and to give the zakat from your money. Wa tasilu ar-rahim, and to connect the ties of kinship. So here we notice that the Prophet ﷺ, he informed them of the most important things. First off is the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone, tawheed. The second thing is iqam as-salat, as we know, because the Prophet ﷺ did the same command when he sent Mu'adh to Yemen. The hadith of Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhuma, in which he said, لما بعث معاذا إلى اليمن قال إنك تأتي قوما من أهل الكتاب فليكن أول ما تدعوهم إليه شهادة لا إله إلا الله وفي رواية إلى أن يوحدوا الله فإنهم أطاعوك لذلك فأعلمهم أن الله افترض عليهم 5 صلوات في كل يوم وليلة فإنهم أطاعوك لذلك فأعلمهم أن الله افترض عليهم صدقة تؤخذ من أغنيائهم فترد على فقرائهم وإنهم أطاعوك لذلك فإياك وكرائم أموالهم واتقي دعوة المظلوم فإنه ليس بينها وبين الله حجاب. This hadith is in Bukhari and Muslim. So Ibn Abbas, he reported when when the Prophet ﷺ sent Mu'adh to Yemen, he said that you're going to a people of Ahl al-Kitab, of the people of the book, the Jews and the Christians. And the Christians, and he said, so let the first thing that you be is to call the people to Tawheed. Call the people that none has the right to be worshipped except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone, with no partners, and that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the messenger of Allah. And he said in another narration, إِلَّا أَن يُوَحِّدُ اللَّهِ, that they single out Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in all forms of worship. And he said that they obey you in this, then what? Yeah, inform them that they have five daily prayers, 5 prayers to be prayed, in the day and throughout the day. And if they obey you in this, what?
Take sadaqah from their wealth.
Yeah, okay, so the sadaqah has been made incumbent upon them to be taken from their rich and distributed amongst their poor. And if they obey you in this, he said, فَإِيَّاكَ وَقَرَائِمَ أَمْوَالِهِمْ. So be very, very wary of taking from the best and the best of their wealth. So you take from the middle of the wealth, and you don't accept that they give you the worst of their wealth. You don't accept it, but you don't take from the best. You take from the middle. Unless under one condition. You can take from the best of their wealth in one condition. Nobody.
If it's all equal, no.
If they accept it, if it's from them, it's from طيبة أنفسهم. If it's from it's from themselves. Like they say, no, take this, and he's like, no, we can't take this. No, I want you to take this, and it's the best of his money, but that's what he chose. Not that you go and you take it, or the wali al-amr, the person in authority, doesn't go take the best, but he tells you, no, take it. I insist that you take this, and that's a whole different issue. All right. And then he said, and be fearful of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in regards to the dua of the oppressed person, because there's no partition between the dua and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for it being answered. All right, so you see that when the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam sent Mu'adh to Yemen, this was what he told him to begin with. And here, when the Arabi, when the Bedouin came to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he gave him the same advice, but he added one more thing, which is what? وَتَصِلُوا الرَّحِمِ. He said, and to maintain the ties of kinship. All right, so he added that because of the importance, and he connected those with the 3 other issues, because we see like the shahada, the salat, and the zakat. And there was an issue about why the ulama, because even the ulama, they differed about why did the Prophet ﷺ only mention this to Mu'adh, and he didn't mention Sawm, he didn't mention fasting, he didn't mention Hajj. And some people say, well, because it hadn't become wajib at the time, but it did, because he sent Mu'adh to Yemen in the 10th year of Hijrah. So all of these things were incumbent upon the time, and in fact, that was the year that I can see that he's test driving all the chairs in the Masjid now. But other ulama, they say that no, he was informing them of the things that they can be fought over. Because if you reject the shahada, that's grounds for fighting. If you refuse to pray, that's what I'm saying. That's grounds for fighting. If you stop praying, grounds for fighting. Like you could be taken out by the person in authority. And if you refuse to pay zakat, like the people did in the time of Abu Bakr, and you see sent the armies after him, and they fought him. These are things that you could be fought over. But the other things, they're personal things. Like fasting is a personal thing, and Hajj is a personal thing. But these other things, the zakat, they're not just about you as a person. Because if you stop paying zakat and then you set a trend of not paying zakat, then other people, they start to stop being obedient. As we see, when the people refused to pay zakat after the death of the Prophet, it started to spread. They had to stop that immediately. So, but here, وَتَصِلُوا رَحْمًا. All right, and then of course it shows you the importance, because the Prophet mentioned keeping the ties of kinship with these other issues that he mentioned. All right, hadith number 50. No, there's no comments in here or nothing? No questions? It's dead tonight, huh? Dead. It's nothing going on in there.
I hope I got it turned on, but.
He said the same thing, isn't it? حدثنا إسماعيل ابن أبي أويس قال حدثنا إسماعيل ابن أبي أويس. He is actually commonly his hadith is weak, but he has like a weakness in his narrations. But Al-Bukhari rahimahullah, he is the Shaykh of Bukhari, and Bukhari went through all the different ahadith that he narrated, and he only narrated like the authentic hadiths from him. So Ismail ibn Abi Uwais, fihi da'f. I mean, there's some weakness in this hadith, but here if you see Bukhari narrating from him, it shows because in Bukhari he kind of like filtered out the ahadith that weren't authentic, and he only accepted the ahadith that were authentic from him. قال حدثني سليمان بن بلال عن معاوية بن أبي مزرد عن سعيد بن يسار عن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال خلق الله عز وجل الخلق فلما فرغ منه قامت الرحم فقال مح قالت هذا مقام العائد بك من الخطيئة قال ألا ترضين أن أصل من وصلك وأقطع من قطعك قالت بلى يا ربي قال فذلك لك. So here this hadith is reported on the authority of Abu Hurairah that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when he خلق الله الخلق, when he created creation, once he completed, once he finished with the creation, فَلَمَّا فَرَغَ مِنْهُ قَامَتِ الرَّحْمِ, when he finished with the creation, the rahm, which is the womb, the ties, the kinship, now not the actual physical womb, but the connection, back to the womb, it stood up. Now how does it stand up? And it's an abstract thing. So a lot of these people that won't have a lot of knowledge, they'll sit there and say, well, it's metaphorical. It doesn't really mean that it actually physically stands up. But here, the Prophet ﷺ said it stood. And you don't use this in the Arabic language. You don't say qamat for something that's what? That's metaphorical. That's something that's not actual physical, concrete thing. You got to roll out if you're going to keep all this foolishness up. So, this is what a lot of people will say, but in reality, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He gives this ability to whatever He wills. Alright, so we know on the Day of Judgment that what? Once Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He completes all the judgment between everybody, between the Muslims and the kuffar, and the Muslims will go to Jannah, the kuffar will go into the hellfire, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He brings death. But what form does He bring death in?
Eternal.
No, He brings it in the form of a ram. And then He says, Ya Ahl al-Jannah, ata'arifun hada. He says, Ya Ahl al-Jannah.
Is that the hadith where
I'm trying to quote the hadith right now.
Go ahead.
So he said, Ya Ahl al-Jannah, fayashra'ibunna. Yashra'ibunna means that they turn their heads to look. How ta'arifun hada. He said, do you know this? And they said, Na'am, the maut. This is death. He says, Ya Ahl al-Nar, fayashra'ibun. They turn their heads to look, and he says, How ta'arifuna hada. He says, yeah, they say, Na'am, hada al-maut. And they say, yes, this is death. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commands that it be what? It's slaughtered.
Yeah.
And then He says, Ya Ahl al-Jannah, khulud wala maut. Wa ya Ahl al-Nar, khulud wala maut. He said, oh, people of Jannah, it's everlasting with no death, because now death has been slaughtered. And oh, people of the hellfire, khulud, it's going to be everlasting, wala maut, and there's going to be no death. And this is it. So that once that's done, it's done.
And I thought that was like was it like a sheep or something?
A ram.
Oh, it was a ram?
Yeah.
Okay.
But the point is that death here came in the form of what? A ram, a physical form. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commands however He wants. So if He wants to bring the rahim in an actual physical form and it speaks, then إنما يقول شيء كن فيكون. It says be and it is. خلاص. So in this case, he said that qamat al-rahm, that the rahm is stood up, and it said Adam, and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to it, Adam maqam al-a'idi bik. This is the stance of the person who, this will be the place of the person who returns, and keeps the ties with you. And min al-qati'ah, that he seeks refuge from cutting off the ties. All right. قال ألا ترضين أن أصل من وصلك. He said, are you not pleased that I will keep the person connected with me, whoever keeps his connection with you. And أصل من وصلك. وأن أقطع من قطعك. And I will cut the ties with whoever cuts the ties with you. قالت بلى. And then the Rahim said, yes, I agree.
And I got a question.
Wait a second. Ya Rabb. And then, Bala Ya Rabb. He said, so the Rahim said, yes, O Lord, my Lord. قال فذلك لك. And he said, then this is for you. And this hadith is authentic. So the Rahim, it takes on the physical form. These connections, even though they're not physical, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives it a physical form. And it speaks. And then so whoever keeps those ties of connections, and they keep the connection in the deen, inshallah. And whoever cuts off those ties, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala cuts them off.
So now you say that. So I was like something like a personal thing, For example, not saying you ended off like in a bad way, but like for example, you just like shoot, hey, like to your well, if she your wife, I don't think you really cut her off.
Oh, the wife is not a part of this.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
That's a whole different issue. She's not the part of the
So
Rahim.
like for example, if it's like
your children now, that's their mother. That's something different. But your wife.
what about like the mother then? Would that be a good example? Well, cutting off the mother sounds crazy too.
But that's what the hadith's talking about.
Okay, yeah, but no.
It's talking about not just the mother, but
like,
the close relative.
Yeah, but it's like for example, like your well-being. Like for example, you like, you just for some reason, you just see a lot of distractions, right? And then you like, you know what? Like, Mom, don't call me till I figure this out. But like at the same time, it's like
Mom, don't call me until I figure this out. You're never gonna figure it out.
no, but like
The way that you figure it out is keeping those ties. And I've seen that so many times. Like I just forget to call my mother. It happens. And then everything starts to go wrong in my life. Everything's going wrong. And then I look and I say, man, so why is it happening like this? It's like, and then I say, oh man, subhanAllah, I haven't called my mother in like 2-3 weeks. Call my mother, and then everything starts getting better again. So if you think that you're gonna figure things out by cutting off ties or ignoring your mother or not focusing, it's not gonna happen.
All right, and I got another question. So like for example, let's say for example, two companions, friends or whatever, they fall out, right? And now they're distance away, right? But at the same time, all because you fell out and you ain't really rekindled that, right? Basically all the way till death, right? But you still had the intentions like, oh, you go jihad for him, you know what I'm saying? But you guys just fell out though. But it's like the intentions were still pure with him, right? So like, what would happen on that after the book is closed pretty much after his death, but you fell out with this person.
Make dua for him.
Huh?
Make dua for him.
Oh, okay.
After his death, just make dua for him. Continue to make dua for him.
All
There's a question.
Yeah, we have a question. It says, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Does it also apply to non-family members, Ustad?
What is that?
I'm guessing.
The Silat al-Rahim.
Yeah. And cutting off.
No, I mean the non-family members, if it's a
Non-Muslim family members.
Huh?
Non-Muslim family members.
Yeah, of course. My mother's not a Muslim, but like I said, I see my life start to fall apart. Everything starts to go wrong if I haven't talked to her in a couple weeks. So No, that's an obligation. It's an obligation no matter what their religion is. This thing about keeping the ties of kinship is not tied to their religion. You know, as long as they're not from the people that are fighting against you, they're not from the people running you out of your homes. All of that's obligatory for you to maintain those ties of kinship and remain in a state of ihsan ilayhim. You know, when you treat them good and you treat them with respect, and you know because that's da'wah. You want your mother to become Muslim. Well, what better way to get them to get her or your father or whoever to become Muslim than to continue to treat them with respect and honor, and so along those lines.
And the same question they're asked, how do we implement al-wala wal-bara in this situation?
You start giving your mother al-wala wal-bara, and you're not taking them as a wali. Al-wali is a protector. You are fulfilling your obligations that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala set upon you. To these other kuffar, you don't have these obligations. But let's say that you have a neighbor who's a kafir. Now this neighbor has rights over you, and you have to fulfill those rights. You can't just sit there and ignore him, not talk to him, and be mean to him. No, you still have to fulfill the rights of the neighbor. But that doesn't mean that you go and become best buddies with him. That doesn't mean that you start to have love for him and his kufr, and you start to, become pleased with that. No, that's a whole different thing. So the wala wal bara, that's in their deen. Like, the same thing. Like my mother, I do whatever, keep in contact with her and keeping those ties of kinship. It's because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded me to do that. But I'm not pleased with her deen. I'm not pleased with what she's doing and how she lives her life. I'm not pleased with that. So that that goes into that type of thing where you see these kuffar and you start to make buddies with them and you take them as protectors and you start to dress like them and act like them and talk like them and you're pleased with what they're doing. Or even to the point now that people, they sit there and think like, oh, the kuffar, or, I trust the kuffar more than I trust the Muslims, and then even the brother was telling me today, it's like some people, they say, if I'm going to do anything, I'm going to do it the American way. This now is the issue of al-wala wal-bara. This person now has not fulfilled those conditions. This person now, and that's a part of our iman. And we hate kufr. And we hate the people of kufr. But people that have rights over us, we fulfill those rights. Doesn't matter who that person is. If that person is a neighbor, that person is a close relative, they have rights over us, we have to stand up as Muslims and fulfill those rights. Nobody else does that. Nobody else. And if we don't do it, that means what? Nobody does it. Nobody does it. Anything else?
I heard that's what keeps the world
spinning or what?
I guess you say that as a Muslim. They sound like the Muslims.
Once the people of Tawheed die, then Allah destroys the earth. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not going to destroy this earth, and there's a person that's, that believes in La ilaha illallah. So all the believers are going to be taken. Their souls will be taken before the day of judgment. So only the worst and most corrupt people are going to be left on the earth. And that's how Allah destroys the earth. You see that even the earth will not be destroyed, and there's still people of Tawheed available, in that area. Let me turn off the sound here.
We have another question from the same question. And the questioner says, I listened to Sheikh bin Baz, rahimullah, fatwa, and he said we should not sit with the person who abandoned prayers.
We should not sit with the person who abandons prayers. Yeah, you shouldn't. But if it's a family member, that's something different. How are you going to advise the family member if you don't sit with the family member? Like I said, regardless, if a person abandons salat and they stop praying, it's your father or it's your mother. All right, that's one thing. We hate that. We hate that aspect. And if I had a Muslimah, if my mother was Muslimah and she refused to pray and she died, I would not pray janazah over her. It's not permissible for me to pray over her, and I know that she stopped praying. That's a part of the wala wal bara. But as far as maintaining the ties of kinship and her rights over me as my mother, I still fulfill those rights and I still give her advice. But if she refuses, then that's a different thing. That aspect, I will never be pleased with it. So again, you're looking at one thing, and this is one thing, and this is another
I got
thing.
a question. So, if,
Now we're talking about a friend. You have a friend who the thing about it is too is within the ties of kinship, you bil ma'ruf, you maintain those ties of kinship. Especially if like the person's not praying, they're not, maybe they're even insulting the deen and things like that, and it's hard to be around them. But you go and you do whatever you can do. And if it starts where they're like insulting the deen or they're not doing, and then you get up and leave. You get up and leave. But you try. You're trying, and you don't know the type of effect that might have on the person later on. And you just keep continuing to be good to them, even though they're acting stupid. But those are your parents. I mean, in the end, they have rights over you. You got to fulfill those rights. And that doesn't mean that you have to, agree with everything they do and everything they're upon, but you still keep those connections. And then, but if it's like friends and people like that, well, we don't take people as friends that don't pray. Person doesn't pray, advise them, give them advice, but you don't sit with them, you don't hang out with them, you're not going around eating cheeseburgers and pizza with them.
Even if they be like, I don't want to read the Quran and stuff like that, then what? That's still like a part of the social.
I don't want to read the Quran.
Yeah.
Why would you want to be around a person who claims to be a Muslim that doesn't want to read the Quran?
Oh, he's not Muslim, but.
I mean, that's it. I mean, we don't take his friends for us. Like I said, with the ties of kinship, that's something that's an obligation. Going out and making friends and being buddy-buddy with people, that's a choice. That's not an obligation. So you choose believers, you choose people that are going to help you, encourage you to do righteous behavior. Kuffar are not going to encourage you to do righteousness. Kuffar are going to encourage you to do the opposite. They're going to encourage you to take a U-turn and go in the opposite direction. So you stay away from it.
That's what you said there.
And the questioner said, okay, I understand. Jazakallah khair.
Oh, yeah. Another one. Poetry time. Poetry time.
So I have a question.
Uh-oh.
So you mentioned this.
I'm just gone and Mujahid 2.0 is here.
I have a question. So you said that you wouldn't perform the janazah over the person who abandoned salat.
And died on it.
And died on it. Is that the person who says, I abandoned salat?
No, they don't pray.
You just noticed it. So do they don't keep all the 5 salats? Or if you ask them to come back to the door, they pray with you, but on their own they don't make salat? Is there like a cutoff point? Or is it, how would you judge that? What extent would you go to say that they would not?
I mean, you get like Shaykh al-Albani, rahimahullah, he tried to make a differentiation between people that pray sometimes, like they have these little spurts of praying, then they leave off the prayer. But the thing is if that person dies at the time, let's just say that the person prays every day, and then they just say, you know what, it's Salat al-Asr. Say, you know what, I'm not going to pray. And walks out and gets hit by a car. And we know that the person just said that. I would not pray on that person. Because that a person, all it takes is the abandonment of that one salat. I'm not going to pray. Goes out and gets hit by a car.
Hey, that's God's speed, though. That's God's speed.
So, I mean, if the person is known for not praying, and it's not even permissible to bury that person in the graveyard of the Muslims.
What about visiting?
So you give that person, you go bury them somewhere else. Bury them amongst the kuffar, bury them anywhere. But they're not allowed to be buried in the cemetery of the Muslims.
So what about visiting this person that you know abandoned at least one
For what purpose? To hang out with them? Or to give them advice? If you're going to go to them and give them advice and leave, then that's beautiful. But if you're going to go hang out with them and play Call of Duty and chill and eat lunch with them and just talk about, what's going on in the world and all that, then no, that's not permissible.
All right, I got another question too about, you said it pretty briefly, about so what happens if a Muslim you know, we have rights, you know, to be buried with the Muslims and everything. So for, you know, hypothetically speaking, you know, what happens if a Muslim's not buried with the Muslims? Will they still, like, how would that work? It's just like non-existent.
I mean, if he's not buried with the Muslims, he's not buried with the Muslims.
So they like, will he be resurrected with the people he?
No, he's gonna be resurrected with follow the messenger that he followed.
Okay.
So if he died on Islam,
all
every people is gonna be with the messenger
yeah,
that they follow.
It's gonna be good. Yeah.
So if you die on Islam, you die on Iman, inshallah, you're resurrected.
You still be raised with the Ummah, right? All the Muslims.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah, cause like Jesus. Wait, nah. Right? That's how it works. That's how it is. How like Jesus.
Every prophet, every people that are gonna be resurrected,
And all their companions, right?
they're gonna be with their prophet, whatever prophet they follow.
Okay.
We have another question on the topic of salat. The brother asks, what about the person who doesn't abandon the prayer fully, but prays alone, not in Jama'ah, in a Muslim country?
He prays alone.
He prays alone.
He's a fasik.
He's a basic.
Yeah.
That's wrong.
Yeah. But he's still a Muslim. I mean, if he has the ability to pray and he doesn't, then no, I'm that person lost.
Even if it may distract them, like praying with multiple people,
Huh?
like praying with multiple people, even if it may distract them.
What are you talking about?
I don't know. You don't like people again?
No, I mean, if you, in a Muslim country, I think you got, like, there's zero excuse, right? There's a masjid within walking distance on probably every single side of your house. Behind your house, in front of your house, on the left of your house, on the right of your house. It's not like America now where you got to get in the car and drive to the masjid, or like in your case, like you said, you get on the bus or get, so it's like, that's not the same. But I mean, you can see people, I know one brother, he had just gotten out of prison. He's a brother in Jacksonville. He's locked up for killing somebody, right? And very, very good brother. But he just wanted to get to the masjid. So as soon as they released him, they put him in that, that what is that, like a halfway thing where before he, as he transitions back to the world, man, he used to get on the bus and ride the bus for hours just to get back and forth to the masjid and pray, just pray. All he wanted to do was pray in the masjid. And then every single salat that he was able to pray in the masjid, he prayed. That's the person that has the desire to do it. But the person who doesn't have the desire to do it, he could literally have a house 1 block from the haram in Mecca, and he'll never pray in the masjid. You never see him in the masjid because he has no desire. So it's all about the person and the desire. I mean, so people will sit there and make the excuse, oh, but I live so far. But I've seen people, when I was young, when I was 15, 16 years old, I want to get to the masjid for Fajr. You know what I had to walk through just to get to the masjid? They still tell the story. Some of the brothers still tell the story about me walking to the masjid in Jacksonville, even to the day, 30 years later. The brothers are still telling me about the story when I was, 15, 16 years old walking to the masjid, because at Fajr, I had to go, I didn't live in the most safest neighborhood to be walking down the street. So every time that I would see the headlights of a car, I had to duck in a bush, and then I had to walk through, there's 2 streets, and there's no street that goes to this street, just a wooded area. And in Florida, it rains and rains and rains, so it's like all swamp. And I had to walk through there, snakes and all type of stuff. Like I'll be walking and just like the big black snake just run out in front of me, and I'll like, just keep walking. I gotta go. And it takes like maybe a mile, more than a mile just to walk to the masjid, to go through all this stuff. By the time I get to the masjid, my shoes all full of mud, I'm all dirty, but I'm like, got to the masjid, and then somebody takes me back home after the Fajr, if somebody shows up. If not, then I have to walk back. But the point is like, if you have the desire to do it, you do it. Those that don't have the desire, they're going to make whatever excuse you can not to do it. But in a Muslim country, come on, man, SubhanAllah.
We got another question. The sister asks, is it permissible for a woman who believes that niqab is obligatory to remove it for security reasons if there are CCTV cameras in the sisters' area of the masjid. And she goes on to say,
For security reasons, what, in the masjid?
yeah, she just said for security reasons, if there are closed circuit TVs and cameras in the sisters' area.
Well, who's watching those TVs? If they have sisters watching the TVs, paying attention to what's going on in the sister section, but if it's men, then no, they shouldn't. I mean, the masjid themselves should do that. They should have like a separate, where only the women can check those cameras. But I don't know if you can do that, because you would know, because
I've never even been posed with that question.
Well, I'm saying like right here, like how we have these cameras set up here, right? Could you actually give access to like that area only to, like, for example, like Sister Amina? Like she only has access to that.
I'm pretty sure you probably could. You would have to sit down with the specialist that installed them and figure out how to do it.
Yeah. So I mean, if you could do that, then or else you'd have to have it set up on a different, like two separate,
Or
systems. That has its own system, and then this is something like that.
I'm pretty sure we probably can do that. Though. And she has another question, or a couple more questions.
A bunch of questions, I guess.
Yeah, so she asked first, and she said, considering there are lessons in the masjid, is it better for her to attend these lessons in person or follow them online, given the situation? And she said, an incident occurred in the masjid where a man sneaked in wearing niqab and was caught. That's why they have CCTV now.
I only hope that the man that was caught doing that got a lesson that he will never ever do that again. Because if that ever happened here, then it's not gonna be we're gonna be calling up everybody in the neighborhood. Hey, who wants some?
Right.
The man come on, everybody come. It's a free for all. Like who wants some of this? We're gonna put them on a chair, and whoever wants to do what they got to do, he's trying to be amongst our women. There you go.
Right.
I just hope that this person learned a lesson that he will never ever forget. Unfortunately, that's a sad thing with the lack of security in a lot of the masajid. But if you look, man, if the safety is a concern with the women, it's better for them to stay at home. And we talked about this when we're talking about the Ramadan. When we're going over the book about Ramadan, because we're talking about, is it better for the women to pray in the masjid for Taraweeh or to not? And we said it's better for the women to pray, number one, if they come with a mahram, because obviously she's going to be out at night. She needs a male guardian to be with her. And number two, that she can be in the masjid and feel safety. Because the time at night, a lot of things can happen. And I talked about situations that happen in Yemen, where these guys accidentally walk up to the women's section, and I say accidentally because everybody knows in Yemen where the women's sections are in the masjids. So as long as, if safety becomes a concern, and then it's better for the women to stay home and take the lessons from home until those safety concerns can be fixed. Because I mean, and that's crazy if the safety of the women. But I mean, the thing about it is, it's not a difficult situation. Like here we have the situation, and I've seen this multitude of times, where brothers will walk into the masjid, and and here we got this partition. So I don't know, like, I mean, it's very clear. Like, I mean, I came in here the first time and I saw the partition. I said, okay, so the women are behind the partition. But you get some brothers here that just, I didn't see the partition, and they just keep walking back all the way. So like these back doors, if we had safety concerns with the women, we could lock these back doors where nobody can come up through those back doors. Because that's what we do at Fajr. Because, we keep all these doors locked because we don't want some crackhead can come up through the back door and sneak up on us while we're praying.
Right.
Fajr, so we want everybody to have to come in to the front door so we can see you,
Right.
And because you can see, like with this glass over here, you can see anybody that walks past it from the outside. Somebody comes out here, can't see them. They just sneak up on you. You hear the door, but you don't know what's going on. So, I mean, if that's a concern, like for us, I mean, we just lock that door. We lock the door, and then the sisters can open the doors for the sisters, and that's that. But I mean, if it gets to too much of a concern, then the women stay home. The women's safety is the biggest concern. And, you know, her going to the masjid is not an obligation on the woman. You know, for her to be in the classes and be in the masjid, that's good. That's good. And it's something that's, you know, it's alhamdulillah, sisters go on and learning their deen is a good thing. But if it's going to be something where safety now becomes an issue, it's better for her to stay at home. Especially if it's going to cause, you know, a few brothers to have to do something that might end them up in jail.
Right.
So, you know, we can't control.
Right.
When people get their hands on somebody, you can't control the outcome all the time. So along this time. What else? Nothing. She said she had a whole bunch of questions.
So that was it.
All right. Poetry time. This is just a poem that I posted on Telegram. I actually did a YouTube video about it. I'm just gonna go over it briefly because we don't really have a lot of time. Did you put those Klondike bars in the freezer?
They were all gone.
They're all
gone.
gone.
The rest of it to the kids.
Okay. I guess I don't know what I'm gonna do for a Klondike bar, you know. Another question.
Yeah.
What was your mom?
Person says, my Quran teacher is an Ashari, but I'm there only for tajweed lessons and if this is
We
okay.
ain't gonna do this poem today. I can already see where this question is going. It doesn't matter because the thing about it is he's a teacher. So if you go to a person and there's people from Ahl Sunnah that, you know, you can sit with them and go over the Quran with them. You don't have to sit with an Ash'ari. And so the point is that you sitting with him and being close to him is going to make you start to remain silent on a lot of the mistakes that he's going to be making, the things that he's going to be doing. It's going to affect, and this is where we're going to the issue of al-wala' wal-bara'. Because now when you start to sit with people like that, your heart starts to soften to them. And it's going to, because he's teaching you, he's helping you, he's giving you, if you have this strong desire to, like for example, learn the Quran, or learn the Arabic language, or whatever it is that you're trying to do, and you sit with this person and this person sits down and helps you with that, how is your heart not going to soften to that person? You know, it's just like Imam Shafi'i, which was, he mentioned this in a poem in his book. He said, "Man kuntu an malihi ghaniyan, fama ubali an jafani." You know, and he's talking about just the state of the people. He said, you know, if I'm rich from a person's money, I don't care if he treats me in a rough manner. Why? Because you're going to be patient with, you know, like you'll deal with things, you know, like if you're getting something from somebody, you're receiving a benefit from a person, you'll put up with things from that person that you won't put up with other people that you're not receiving any type of benefit from. So your heart starts to soften to that person. So now you start to shy away. And this happened, I mean, and then I can tell you from experience.
Whoa, what are we talking about?
Relax. I can tell you from experience where like when I was in Sunnah, and there was a sheikh from Mauritania, same thing. He's an Ash'ari. But all we wanted to do was what? Study Nahu with him. But I know what the guy's about. So one day, I had 3 books with me. And there was one book that I was reading. And there was other 2 books I wanted to show him. So I kept the 3rd book that I was reading, I kept it hidden from him because I know what's going to happen. Because I know the person. You know, and then what happened was he said, so I said, let me ask you about these books. So they were all different explanations of Al-Ajurumiyah. So one was the Ajurumiyah of Al-Makudi. The other one was the explanation of Al-Ajurumiyah by, I think it was Khalid al-Azhari or somebody else. The 3rd one that I was reading was from Sheikh Al-Uthaymeen. So I had that hidden because I'm like, oh, what's he going to do if he sees that, right? So, because like I said, we're just trying, again, this is the whole trying to get what we're trying to get from the person and knowing what he's about. But you see what happened is he said, oh, this is a very good book, very, very good book. He said, let me see the other one. Very, very, very good. He said, what's that 3rd one that you got over next to you? I said, I don't worry about this. I'm not trying to ask about this. But he said, no, show it to me. Let me see what you're reading. So he grabbed it and he looked at it. He said, And then he handed it back and he never answered his door ever again. Every time we would come over and knock on the door, he wouldn't answer the door for us. So it was Ajurumiyah by Sheikh Al-Uthaymeen. So you see the type of bara they have with us. This is how they're going to treat us. They don't have love for us. So, we knew he was home, but he wouldn't answer his door. He would not answer his door for us. What type of person is this? So why should we have the same type of love for them? And why should we go to them and study with them? And, because when you're taking a person as a sheikh, that's a form of ta'zeem, that you're holding this person in a high status, and, your heart's going to soften up with the person. And again, it's going to be hard to say, hey, what you're doing is wrong. This is not right. This is, you don't have that type of inkar on the munkar. So the same thing with this guy. This guy used to be musbil. He used to wear his thobe all the way below his ankles, and we'd be quiet about it. We'd be quiet. We see all these things. He's trimming his beard, because you see the sheikhs of Mauritania. This is how very rarely you see one that's really, really following the sunnah. So, and that's it, and then we stand quiet. So after that, I said, well, it's never again, and that's it, we don't. So the best thing to do is find somebody from Ahl Sunnah, make dua. If you can't find someone, make dua. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows your situation, and if you and taraka shay'an lillah, awadahu Allah khayran minhu. The Prophet ﷺ said, whoever leaves off something for the sake of Allah, leaves it off for Allah. Because you fear that you might fall into this, you might fall into shubahat, and you might fall into their misguidance. So you leave it off for Allah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give you something better than that which you left. So it's better. Stay away from those. Stay away from those people. Stay away from them.
Can you clarify that for me?
Later, inshallah.
All right.
You got another question?
The brother was just making a comment, and he says, Barakallah feek, Sheikh. I made hijrah to Egypt, and sadly, most of the Quran teachers there are Ash'ari here. But I will keep looking for someone on the sunnah to teach us, inshallah.
It's just for example, we have a brother in Jacksonville. Beautiful recitation. When I first came back to Jacksonville, he used to lead the salat. Man, he'd read 4 or 5 pages each rak'ah. And everybody starts huffing and puffing, oh my God, why is he taking so long to pray? But now I was like, man, this guy can recite, akhi. But he's Kharij. He has he has so many elements of the aqidah of the Khawarij. A very nice brother. Very nice brother. Very, 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 always smiling. But then when he sits down, and this is what he was trying to teach the people the Quran. And then what does he do? Because you're going to come across different ayats. You don't understand. You're going to ask him how to explain it. What does this mean? Can you explain this to me? Help me understand this. How can you have any type of thiqah with this person? You have trust with this person that he's not going to give you based on, their understanding. And this is what he used to do. And even I told the brother, I said, just tell me one thing. And I gave him an ayah from Surah Al-Baqarah. I said, go back to your sheikh and ask him, how does he give the tafsir to this? What's the tafsir of this ayah? And then when he came back and told me, I said, I knew it, because it was a tafsir of the Khawarij, So but they would never know that. These are just brothers who are trying to just learn the deen. And of course, like I said, he's a nice brother. He smiles and everything. So if we had to deal with him on a personal level, he's a cool guy. Very, very cool guy. I never had any issues with him. But when it comes to deen, it's deen. And once he started spreading all those shubahat, khalas. We have, you gotta speak out of, and tell the brothers y'all can't be sitting with him because this is what he's doing. So
what's the subihat?
It's going to take too long to explain that.
So we had that same kind of issue. Well, not kind of issue. We had the same issue here with the different people who's been around for years, teaching a little bit. And a lot of people don't understand, and they never knew that they were something different, just out of ignorance and not knowing, for example, the Tablighi brothers, and, most of them are either Maturidi or Ash'ari or something like that. And other things, and a lot of people don't understand how that factors in on everything. We're all Muslim, keep the door open, don't run people away, and so on and so forth. And they don't understand how it could harm a person.
Well, Akhi, you have a business. Do you just say, oh, we're all human beings, I'll just hire anybody? Or you pay attention to make sure that you hire the most qualified person to make sure that your business continues to succeed, and the goals and whatever the goals of your business and what you're trying to achieve with that business, that these people that you're hiring are going to help you to carry out that. Now, whatever research you have to do into the life of that person, whether it includes going on their social media posts or whether doing a criminal background check or whatever, giving them drug tests, whatever it is that you need to do to make sure that you feel at peace hiring that person, you're going to do it, right? That's your dunya. This is deen. The dunya, it comes and goes. Your business collapses, you can go, you can work, you can save up money, and you can start another business. And you can do things right the next time. You learn from your mistakes. You die on this misguidance and you die on this foolishness that the people are spreading. There's no coming back from that. Now you're in the ground and now you have to answer. You understand? So this is something that you have to take more serious as far as like who you're taking your knowledge from. And that's a statement, I believe it was from Abdullah ibn Mubarak, if I'm not mistaken, look it up. Inna hada ilmu din. Fandur amman ta'khud dinak. Fandur amman ta'khud dinak. That this knowledge is deen, and you got to go back and check and see who you're taking the knowledge from. So, we can't just say, oh, we're all Muslims, we're just going to take from anybody. No. That's not the tariq of the Salaf in regards to knowledge. The tariq of the Salaf is the tariq, illa man ata Allah bi qalbin salim. That the person, he goes and he meets Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with a heart of peace. And peace from salama min al-shirk, wa salama min al-bid'ah, wa salama min al-inhiraf, wal intikas, and all these, that the heart is at peace, away from shirk, away from bid'ah, away from all these types of things. So when I, and that's the, you have to be more picky about who you take knowledge from than you do about anything that you're doing. But you see the people the opposite. They go to buy a car. Well, look how they are. Look how meticulous they become when they try to buy a car. Looking at this and looking at that, looking at this. But I'll take deen from anybody. Akhi, this is your deen. This is your akhirah. This is like, what I'm saying? This is your real ras malik. This is your capital that you're going to meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with. The car, you got more attention to the car. You're going to go buy a house and you want to find out who the owner is and who the previous owners were, and let me look at all that, and inspect the house and do all this and all before you buy the house, but you just take your deen from anybody. So your dunya is your concern. The deen is not your concern. Because if the deen were your concern, and that's where you will put the majority of your attention. Who am I taking knowledge from? Where did, did this person, okay, this person's Ash'ari. I don't want knowledge from him. I don't want anything from him, and even the Salaf, when they used to, when these types of people used to come to them and say, I'm reading the kalima, I just want to speak one word to you. Say, well, this is the kalima, not even half a word. Get away from me. When they went to Imam Malik and they wanted to argue with Imam Malik, he said, "Amshi ila shak al-miflak, fa inni ala yaqeen min dini." So you go to somebody who has doubt like you and go argue with him. Well, jadilhu, go argue with him. فَأَنَا عَلَى يَقِينٍ مِّن دِينِي. I have certainty in my deen. I don't need to argue with you. And that's the tariq of the Salaf. They didn't speak to these people. They didn't deal with them. So in this way, you're trying to meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you don't have to, wait, salamat al-qalb, the heart at peace from all this stuff, not just the shirk. Shirk is the most important thing that you have. A heart is tawheed, a heart that's, that's repentant to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, believe in Allah, but also there's salama, that's at peace from bid'ah, and all this love for the, we have no love for this type of stuff. This is, the bid'ah is more dangerous than anything else to the Muslims, because you see how it spreads. Because the Muslims, they trust these people. Person comes up and he has a thobe and he has a beard and he can quote a few hadiths, and the next thing you know, he's teaching all types of chaos. Nah, you got to go back and check that. I don't, like I tell everybody constantly, don't even just sit back. Go back. I want you to go back. When we talk about that, go back and check it. Go back. Because that way you can go back and get it from the source, and you're not just sitting there just taking stuff from me. Who am I? I'm nobody. Just a miskeen, small student of knowledge that alhamdulillah, Allah blessed me to study in Damascus. That's it, you know. You go back and you get the knowledge from the source, but you have to find that person who's going to connect you to that source. These people, they don't connect you to that source. You think Ash'ari is going to connect you to the path of the Salaf? You know, the Quran and the Sunnah, and follow, they don't even follow the Sunnah themselves. And no concerns. If they follow the Sunnah and they follow the Tariq of the Salaf, they won't be Ash'ari. You know, so Allah musta'an. Man, we would stay far away from these people. You know, and we got social distancing with Ash'aris and people a bit like, well, not 6 feet, 6,000 feet. As many feet as you can put between you and them, put it. You know, stay completely away from them. They invite you to their homes, you don't go. They have little functions, they want you to attend, you don't attend. I mean, we don't have nothing to do with them. They want to come to sit in the classes and they want to learn from us. Ahlan wa sahlan. They're welcome. We're not going to kick the people out, but we're not going to go and study from them, because that's the type of ta'aleem. And then you studying with them and being a person from Ahl Sunnah is giving them credence. It's validating what they're doing. You speaking with them validates them. You know, shaking their hands and being friendly with them, it validates them. We don't validate what they're upon. That doesn't mean that's for every single person. You got these awam, these laymen that, you know, might be Ash'ari and all that. We don't just run them away. Yeah, give them salams and get them to come to the classes and learn his deen. Just a layman, you know. But when we're talking about these big people that are calling to this and they're, you know, calling the people away from the Sunnah, we got no love for them.
They don't do it for us. Because online, if you go and listen and read and watch what they say about Salafi and people who follow the Hadith and the Sunnah, what they say about Islam, they call us what? Anthropomorphists and all this old type of thing.
Yeah, and in Arabic they say the Awalai al-Mujassima, which is complete batil and complete foolishness. It shows that they don't understand even what we say. They say, oh, they're the ones that say that Allah has a body. Who said that? Who said that? Well, I see that. So, and this is the point that they're, you know, and now you're going to sit here and talk about, can I study Quran with a person who makes up lies against us just so people don't listen to us, because they know. Well, just like Fir'aun and his followers, وَجَحَدُوا بِهَا وَاسْتَيْقَنَتْهَا أَنفُسُهُمْ ظُلْمًا وَعُلُوًا. You see that the Fir'aun and his followers, they knew the truth. They knew that what Musa was upon was the haqq. وَجَحَدُوا بِهَا. But they rejected it after they knew the truth. وَاسْتَيْقَنَتْهَا أَنفُسُهُمْ ظُلْمًا. And even in their nafs, in their hearts, they knew, they were on certainty that what he had was the truth. But they rejected it. So, and that's why you see these people, they have to go to like different types of name calling. Oh, these Wahhabis this, Wahhabis that. But wallahi, you got hujjah. You got evidence. Hatu burhanakum in kuntum sadiqeen. Bring your evidence if you're truthful. Get all this name calling. This is elementary school kid garbage. You know, this name calling type of stuff. See, when we refute the people with evidence. We refute their batil with evidence. We go back to the tariq of the Salaf. We take our aqeedah from books with chains of narration. We take our aqeedah, you see, from the Quran, from the Sunnah. And then we go back to books like you see, like a Sharia, and the book by, you know, and the books by like Lalaka'i and Ibn Battah. Books with chains of narration, that's where we get our aqeedah, because we know that this is the aqeedah of the Salaf. Let them bring the same thing that we have. Let them do that. But now all they can do is just sit here and talk about us and insult us. And so, no, I mean, we don't, like, why would we sit there and smile and try to be jovial with a person that we know hates us? You know, let them go teach each other. And we teach each other, khalas. You know?
My brother has a question, a hot button
So
question.
you can let it be known you don't like
It seems like we already been to the hot button questions, but what is it?
He says,
I just go, because that may go be all silly a little bit. So we are,
There is no subject right now.
oh. No, but so basically what you're saying is you could pretty much let it be known that you dislike the person?
For deen reasons, not for personal reasons.
You can't just be like, you know,
can you be pleasant with them and just that? What is that?
I was gonna be like straight up, like I don't like you. You know, would that be like wrong? Like you shouldn't do it, right?
I mean, if it's your Muslim brother, why would you do that?
Oh no. Oh, okay, yeah. I just saying like
If it's personal reasons, you just let that stuff go. We're
oh,
brothers.
Let it go.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's like kufar.
We don't like the kuffar, period.
Yeah.
We got nothing to do with the kuffar. They don't like us.
I'm starting to be more rude to
No, I mean, not to be rude to them, but I mean, we don't show love to them either. I'm not saying that, like, you know, don't. I'm not saying just to go out and get all aggressive with them. No. I mean, we just show no concern for them.
Okay.
Because we have no love for them. Whatever they're doing, that's what they're doing. We got nothing to do with it. Yeah.
The brother asked, what about letting Tablighi Jamaat enter your masjid when they're doing their tour or whatever?
As long as they're not doing their talking. Like we talked about this the other day. They came here and they sat in all the classes. Bukhari, they sat. We were doing the live stream one day and the Tablighis were right here in the live stream. People don't know that. You know, and I started asking them questions about Aqidah, questions about what about this, what about this. And they couldn't argue with me because they're like, you know, it was, you know, I started putting them on the spot. But not in a rude way, like in a teaching way. And there was one, where it was one of them, mashallah, he started to really listen. He started to sit in all the durus. So one day they had, a function. I think they went to like another masjid. But he stayed. He stayed here. He didn't go. And I said, where are your companions at? He said, they went out. They had to go something. I said, and you stayed. He said, I want to sit in the class. So, I mean, you see, like, if we don't just run them out. If they want to come here and they want to learn, they want to sit here and learn, that's fine. But as far as giving them the authority, like stand up and teach their batil and their you know what they're doing, no, we don't do that. We don't allow them to stand up and do anything. What's up?
Oh, is
everybody's like looking at
Yeah, I was just saying who it was.
That's it.
Yeah, that was the last question.
Any more questions? Because we'll wrap it up. It's almost 10 o'clock. Huh?
Ice cream?
You had ice cream, Akhi. What are you waiting for?
I want some more sweets too.
All right. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.